It is time for the ban list in Duel Links. We've got a pretty beefy one apparently. We've got some skill changes, some card hits and unnerfs and all that kind of thing. So let's dive in first of all to the skill balancing happening on the 20th to 23rd. Okay, please, 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 Ishizu's skill, Keith's skill, Yuya's skill, maybe, probably not, that's a bit too new and they want to kind of promote that. We have got, let's see, it is Red Eyes Roulette, Ultimate Unite, Holy Angel Trick, and Master of Rites 2. You know, I did not expect to see any of those on there. Straight out of left field. Okay, so let's see, I guess. And oh, we're doing this thing again, aren't we? I wish they would like highlight what was different rather than just saying the entire text, because I'm not going to read this entire thing and sit here for 10 minutes trying to be confused as to what is actually happening. So let's cut to me kind of having read everything. So overall, these skill changes are fine, right? Actually better than kind of usual for these old skills being rebalanced. The Red Ice one gives you now Red Ice Spell Trap card rather than generic cards. There's no drawing to monsters. You've now basically got Red Ice Fusion or Insight or the Trap card, and that's basically it, which is a huge buff for this skill. Really, really good. Then we've got the Utopia one, which I don't feel as confident on, right? It's just kind of giving you Utopia, and that's the only difference I can see, which sure gives you more space in your extra deck, but no one is kind of playing this anymore now. When if there's no more onomat like buffs, right, in the card list, then this won't really do all that much, right? And the Trickstar one is really big because this now kind of replaces the 3FX skill, kind of, because now you can play it on Blue Angel, you get the voice lines, get double burn. Crimson Heart now works with this, but it's only once per duel. Whereas Playmaker's one, I believe, is 2 to 3 times per duel, right? So you kind of get more value from Playmakers, but with this one, you're banking on the burn damage, kind of carrying you a bit more, right? You now do the minus 200 fully, which is really, really... Oh, actually, no, it's only Holy Angels. Oh, okay, right, maybe not then. At least you kind of get the voice lines, right? At least you get the voice lines, which is cool. And Master of Rites 2 is now getting a restriction on it. And it's also getting like a bounce one back to the deck and a life restriction. There's got to be some ritual deck coming, right? We know we're getting Preparation of Rites, either via bundle or via the box, because of rarity changes. So could that mean we're getting Libromancers or Incantations or Illusion of Chaos, Copium? That'd be kind of nice, right? But I guess, or like, I don't know, it's weird because their reasoning for this is that there's been more ritual decks seeing play. Where? Like, we haven't had ritual decks see support in months, so I don't know what they were kind of thinking with that, but sure. Now onto the brand new cards, of course, come into effect on the 28th, so that'll be the day that the brand new box is announced, and Grandpa comes out. That is 2 weeks away, so let's dive right in and see. What do we have? We have, first of all, Nightmare Mermaid banned. Thank God this needs to happen, right? Thank God. Orcust is now less splashable in other decks, which is fantastic. But also, Voloferniges at limit 1, which I guess kind of cuts off Orcust from Odd Ice now, kind of guaranteeing it, because you want to play this over your Babel, and so as long as there's no more Odd Ice hits limit 1, then this is fine. Right, this just kind of doesn't change anything for Odd Eyes, it just changes the Orcust bit, which I think is the most problematic part. Yes, the skill is really broken, it needs some restriction on it, it's a bit unfair that the other one does, and this one doesn't, but this is a good way of going about it. Then we've got Gar Revenge. So, Onomats and Orcust were being played together as well. This kind of stops that build, which, given we just got the skill buff as well for Zexal Unite, it doesn't feel all that great to have this be limited, right? I would rather they kind of go all in on Orcust, but okay, this is a bit of a weird one. We've then got Farfa moving to limit 1, so players can use it alongside Beatrice. But Beatrice isn't hit at the moment. So, does that mean Beatrice going to 2, or to 3, or to, well, not to 1 because that would be kind of pointless, but okay. So Farfa going from 3 to 1 must mean they've kind of swapped him around, right? So Beatrice at 3, I think that kind of would make sense. Then we've got Orchestrated Release going to 1 as well. I would have preferred the spell card, right? The return, the draw 2. But I guess now you've kind of got to decide, do you want to play Release or Babel, and I think you go for Babel, which kind of locks Orcust into one single playstyle, right? Which I think is fine. The deck's not dead, at least from these limit ones. It's still around, which is good, right? We didn't want it to be outright killed, just, you know, brought down in power quite a bit, and these nerfs do that, right? This especially makes less splashable. Of course, there is still the Scrap Recycler going into the milling the Harp Horror, right? So that's still a thing. But let's carry on. We've got... That is it for Limit 1s. Okay. Now Limit 2. Magician's Rod. Please, if there's anywhere it's going to be, it'll be here. We've got Karakuri Merchant Inasishi. Finally. Finally. He was Limit 1, now Limit 2. Only amount of time for Unlimited. Right, probably next BANLIST, right before Worlds, before the brand new world coming. Assuming they need that, right, because it probably is going to be rushed all right, so they might not even do a BANLIST at Worlds time. So, this is fine, right? Karakuri had the shine of the stick, right? It was released, and then like 2 weeks later, it was hit because there's Extra World coming out. And so this is, it's been a long time coming. This is completely fine, and the most easable read of a BANLIST on Nerf. Very cool. Then we've got Moray of Greed. I'm pretty sure this went to 1 on the last BANLIST. So they've flip-flopped very quickly from the last KC Cup. Obviously, the Orcust deck hasn't been seeing too much play, and so it is now fine to give Limit 2, which means it clashes with nothing else I can see in the Orcust deck. So that is completely fine, I guess. Then we've got Speedroid Double. I said in my video yesterday that if they could hit anything, it'd be this. But I didn't think they would do it, even though Speedroids were seeing a lot of top cut, right, in the KC Cup. I thought it was too new to kind of want to hit. And I guess they're thinking, right, Worlds is in 2 months' time, right? It's our last list before that. Let's just kind of get ahead of anything that could happen because of a potential selection box or the mini box or a main box. This now means you do kind of mandatory need 3 tackets on board, I think, rather than getting away with 2. It does hit consistency, so one of your starter cards via the skill. So, ooh, interesting one. Interesting one. Now, the fact that this got hit, and Odd Eyes got a Limit 1 on an extract card, is really weird. So, that is it for Limit 2s. Okay. Limit 3. We've got Tour Guide from the Underworld. So this does now kind of work alongside the Farfa. Just switch things up, right? You don't want to have Tour Guide and Farfa not being the same deck because that kind of defeats the point. And so that now makes sense, right? So if we're getting Beatrice, she's going to be here. Silver Rocket Dragon. I said this one as well, right? I said that if they can hit rockets, it'll be Silver Rocket. They'll put it to 3. Get rid of Limit 3 back row. This does hit rockets, but not like super much, right? Because most people playing rockets are not really playing Limit 3 back row. They might be playing IDPs, which isn't really accessible for free-to-play players. But in terms of back row, they're playing Cosmics, Book of Moons. They're playing the quick play fusion spells. They're playing maybe things like Warning Point or Needle Season to blob everything, right, to kind of trigger the effects off. So this isn't like the biggest nerf, but I think because they're hitting Orcust and Odd Eyes and Speedroids, it's only kind of fair to hit Rocket some way, and this is probably the fairest kind of hit they could have done. So, predictable, but not overly happy, but doesn't really make much difference anyway either. So that's fine. And of course there's Beatrice. I think that Dark Armed might get unlimited at some point, or like at least like brought down to Limit 2 or something at some point when it's close to release in an actual box, because I feel like you kind of want all these in one deck, and right, I'm not sure how Burning Abyss kind of work now, or how they will look, because this is clearly because of Onomats, right? Because you had Onomats with Burning Abyss, and with Beatrice, this all kind of worked together in a weird mishmash of a deck, and so, okay, just, I hadn't seen this deck being played on ladder in ages, so clearly, there must have been some data they thought, you know, actually it is. You just were seeing Orcust 95% of the time, and maybe like the 5% of the time otherwise, it was Onomat, Orcust, Burning Abyss, or something. Then we've got Scrap Recycler going to Limit 3. This one hurts Orcust quite a bit, because now they haven't got easy access to the Limit 3 back row, of course, and it makes your returns weaker, and also you kind of, do you want to give up your 1-card starter with a Harp Horror? Probably not, and so you will be playing this at 3, I believe, if not 2. You might want to keep 1 IDP or Compulsory in your deck, but yeah, this was kind of necessary. I think that 1-card starter cards that are generic like this, especially when they work with the graveyard, are going to be a bit of an issue, and this card has been proven to be an issue in the TCG as well. So it does make sense to kind of be back on the ban list, I believe. Blue was on here before, and now it's kind of back. Then we've got Tatsunoko, who was hit because of Stardust, right? And now he's being brought back to 3, which doesn't clash with anything, I believe. I think that's completely fine. The skill still is bullshit, but that's fine. Pendulum, cool. Okay, so I think I said this to 2 or 3 in my video, and this also makes sense to, again, keep Orcust out of the deck, right? To keep the Scrap Recycler out, you want 3 of this. So now you're not playing all this Orcust at all, there's no coping on that, you're not playing it. Does this hurt the Limit 3 back row? Yes, but again, Odd Eyes weren't really playing it. You know, you could get by with Book of Moons and Cosmic, and that was mainly what you were seeing. And so this doesn't really change much at all, if anything, for pure Odd Eyes. It just strictly removes the Orcust from the deck, which is fantastic. And then, of course, on the next ban list, we can probably get some more hits if Odd Eyes is still kind of around and kicking back then. Then that is it for the Limit 3s, which means we are now onto the no longer on the list, the Unlimiteds. Rod, Copium, it is time. Konami, give me Gouki rematch. So this was on Limit 3 alongside the Feet one and the Gouki Suprex, right? So this being free means you've now got 2 Suprex, one of the Feet, which is still a very big buff for Gouki, and they're very free to play. So this is a good thing, a very good thing. Then we've got Impact. I thought this was off the balance already, honestly. I thought we had Crystal full power, but apparently not. And now, do we? I think looking at the old balance, I think we do have it at full power, which is kind of scary because Crystal ones were a very annoying deck. Kind of worried about this, but we'll see, right? This might only really affect older players, right? Because new players aren't going to be going back to get Crystal ones, given it is kind of expensive. So only older players will really be going in for this, which is fine, right? Then we've got Finishing Move. So they've now got Suprex at 3. Of course, no back row, right? No Limit 3s, which is fine. No compulsory IDP, that's fine. But now having 3 Suprex means they're practically at full power again. Huh. That is really cool. Now, it wasn't too long ago, right? These got put on the ban list. I think it was in the March ban list, right? The one before the last one. So having a couple of months off, I guess, is fine. The selection box, right, is still available, so if you do want to get your Super X's, get them now for cheap, right? Get your Crackdowns even to be reprinted at the end of the month. It is a bit weird, right, that, you know, we've had the, where is it here, the Karakuri. He's been on the list for like 3 years, but your Morai of Greed, your Goukis can kind of flip-flop on and off in the space of 2 months. It's a bit weird. Maybe they just forgot about Rod. I don't know. But let's see. Let's carry on. We've then got Cynet Crosswipe, who was originally at Limit 1, I believe. So this does buff the Kotalker deck. Again, another flip-flop. It wasn't too long ago this was put on the ban list, and so nature is healing in Duel Links, clearly. We've then got Swallow's Nest. Okay, that is completely fine. Very good card for Harpies, very good card for Blackwings, for Raid Raptors. And yeah, I believe this is also at Limit 2 previously, right? So is there anything this still clashes with on the list? I don't think there is in terms of like Blackwing. So I think that's cool. I think that's very cool. We've then got Seer, which does make sense, right? Because we've now got Beatrice at 3. You want to see this card seeing play more. We've then got Strangle Lanius. This should not have been hit on release. I do not know why they would have done it. Like it was such a weird hit. Like if it was a problem, it was a super rare card, they could have hit it anyway afterwards. But I guess like going from 3 to unlimited is a good thing, because now you can play all those back row to kind of sit on your big board that sometimes will do nothing and sometimes will do a lot. With Raid Raptors it's 50-50, right? You've either got some bird boys that do nothing, or you've got your generic like your Evolzar stuff that really does something that you kind of do need some backup with the back row. This is a very, very good change. I like that one. And then we got Misjudge as the final card. Just the final card on here is Misjudge. No one's gonna play this, but this is like PTSD flashback, right? From the old Sartorius, the Desperado Bower Dragon. This wasn't fun to have around in the rank ladder, and I don't think it will come back. You know, it come back and be played a lot, right? But it's just funny to kind of see here. But overall, ban list was pretty drastic, pretty big. Orcust definitely being hit is the standout. Odd Eyes being removed from Orcust is also a good thing, but nothing changes to the deck, right? Nothing really changes. I guess if there was a really, really good Limit 3 back row coming in the selection box in July, then they might have wanted to play it, but now they can't, which is again a good thing. The Gaga hit is a bit weird. Yeah, just overall, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but overall I think a positive balance, right? Of course, no Rod coming back, that's to be kind of expected, but I'm sure at some point they're just working down the list of what can come back next, and surely next it'll be like the stick chair stuff, and then Rod maybe, just kind of looking at what's on the ban list, maybe Lunalights, right, from Serena, whenever she comes, probably like September, October, November maybe around then. So yeah, that was a fun ban list video. I want to